What is going on, everybody? KMS here from Birds vs. Boys for the Week 1 Dallas Cowboys recap show after the Dallas Cowboys go to Cleveland and put an absolute beatdown on the Cleveland Browns 33-17, and it wasn't even that close with a garbage time touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. I have my victory wine here. It tastes so good. I will say, this is not the game that I expected. This is not the game that I thought was going to be the outcome going into it, but pleasantly surprised. This was the game we needed as Dallas Cowboys fans. I've been saying all offseason that the playoff loss to the Green Bay Packers just seemed like it just kept going on, and the game never ended because of the lack of free agency, the way that the offseason went, with people saying it was the worst offseason in Dallas Cowboys history, and the entanglement of all the issues with the contracts and CeeDee Lamb holding out and what is going to happen with Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy on more. It was just a disastrous offseason. So to go to Cleveland against a very good Cleveland team with the number one rated defense last year, with two rookies on the offensive line going against Myles Garrett, and come away with that big of a victory. Myles Garrett only having one sack. Really, the offense sputtering on the first drive, and everyone saying, "Oh boy, here we go." But the defense stood up and looked phenomenal. So I will take all the onus, saying that I thought they were going to go in, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was leaning more towards a 21-13, 24-16 Cleveland victory, but I was pleasantly wrong, and I'll hold it all day long, because a Dallas Cowboys victory to start off the season to keep pace with my fellow Birds vs. Boys co-host Aiden Powers, Philadelphia Eagles, to be 1-0 on the season. Mwah. And what I love about it too is this season, for like the first time in forever, they're not playing on Sunday Night Football. So we got a 4:25 game. Tom Brady's first game in the booth. A little shaky, Tom. A little awkward, Tom. Not going to lie. Miss McGreg Olsen a little bit there. Hopefully he can get his footing under him, but it was awkward all weekend. The interview on Saturday during college football, the pregame, a little awkward, Tom, but hopefully he'll find his footing. But I love the fact that they played at 4:25, and now I can sit back, have a glass of wine, record this, and enjoy some Sunday Night Football carefree. It's a wonderful thing. I'm not stressed. I'm happy. Let's start really quick in the beginning of the day, right? News dropped right before the NFL kicked off that the Dallas Cowboys re-signed Dak Prescott to a 4-year, $240 million extension, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. And he goes out and plays a really nice game right after. Now, it wasn't, the biggest statistical game, right? He was 19 of 32 for 179 yards and one touchdown. He was sacked 3 times for 16 yards. But again, I will take 3 sacks on the day against that defense, against Myles Garrett and 2 rookies on the offensive line. Yes, please, all day long. I thought Guyton and Beebe held their own. I thought they grew up in this game. They learned a lot. I thought Martin struggled a lot in the beginning of the game, but again, they seem to settle down. I don't know if I should talk about the offense or the defense or the special teams first, right? Turpin with a punt return touchdown. Electrifying. When your team scores a special teams touchdown, especially a return touchdown, it just chef's kiss. It is electrifying. But I'll talk about the offense, right? In the beginning, again, first drive, Ezekiel Elliott touched the ball the first play, not so great. But then they started to get their footing, right? Zeke almost looked like a different player at times out there wearing 15, not 21. He looked like he had some juice. He looked like he had some fresh legs. He touched the ball 10 times for 40 yards, 4.0 yards a carry, if you can do the math there, and 1 touchdown. Had juice, had wiggle. He did have 2 catches for 9 yards, too. He was in there on blitz pickups. Got to say, week 1, through 1 game, the addition, I didn't hate it, right? Rico Dowdle touched the ball 8 times for 26. CeeDee Lamb carried the ball 3 times for 25. Cooks had 1 carry for 5 yards. Deuce Vaughn got 1. Dak had 1. So they ran the ball 25 times for 102 yards by committee. And that's pretty much what kind of we expected, right? There's no signature bell cow on this team that's going to go out there and get you 19 carries for 120 yards, almost like what Joe Mixon did today for Houston. They're going to have to do it by committee. And we didn't even see Dalvin Cook today, obviously. So I'm interested to see how this running game evolves even more once the offensive line gets more footing, once these backs get a little more entrenched. Pleasantly surprised by the running game today. CeeDee Lamb, the leading receiver today, 5 catches, 61 yards, no touchdowns. Brandon Cooks did have the lone touchdown from Dak Prescott, part of his 4 catches for 40 yards today. What a beautiful pass it was, too, for that touchdown. Now, there was an ugly pass on 3rd down to Cooks where he was open for the conversion. Dak missed him. There was 2 throws in a row there that were issues, but let's focus on the positive. The touchdown pass, it caught the defender. He thought the pass was going to come out fast. He floated it right over the top. Loved seeing the arrow out. Loved seeing Cooks get involved early. Really spread it out. There was 19 completions to 9 different receivers. Brandon Cooks, Jalen Brooks, Hunter Lipke had 2. Ferguson had 3. Tolbert only had 1 for 12. He did have a penalty, too. This is the guy they're telling us is really starting to take that next stride. I need to see more in actual games. Jalen Tolbert. Zeke had 2. Rico had 1. There was a time in the second half where the offense seemed to sputter. It seemed to just disappear. And we've seen this before with this offense. Need a little bit more consistency, right? Especially when we need some throat punches, if you know what I mean. Put your foot on the throat, and the game they obviously did. They scored 33, a lot thanks to Brandon Aubrey. He should have had a 66-yard field goal to tie the record, but they had a penalty. That was a delay of game. This is all on Mike McCarthy. I don't know why Bones Fossil was saying, pump the clock here. You had 2 timeouts, Mike. You see the clock running down, call one of your timeouts. It's at the end of the half. You don't get to keep them and bring them to the next half, Mike. Call the timeout. Keep the 66-yard intact for your kicker. He nailed it. He would have nailed it again. But you're also a little bitch for not going for the 71-yard. Let him do it. Would he have done it? Probably not, but you never know. Brandon Aubrey is an absolute weapon. I am so happy he is on this team. But the offense did what they needed to do, right? They played their game. They had they played at their pace. They took it to the Cleveland defense on the road, and that's what you need to do to win ball games on the road against very good defenses. Take it to them. You play the pace. It was a very, very impressive game in that aspect. And Brandon Aubrey did end with 4 field goals, 4 for 4, and 3 extra points, 15 points he was good for today. So all in all, I'll give the offense a B plus, A minus, right? It wasn't perfect. Running game by committee, over 100 yards, 179 over the air. I think we all say that this is kind of the formula of how they're going to win, right? We don't need Dak throwing for 375 every week. Control the game, convert on 3rd downs, move the ball down the field. You have a weapon in Aubrey, so 66 is a very doable field goal, so you don't have to get 6 every time. Continue to just get points on every single drive. Now let's go to the other side of the ball. Micah Parsons was a madman today, literally all over the field. Everybody was talking about how Mike Zimmer was going to use him. Well, he used him. And Micah just would not be stopped today. Um, Going against two backup tackles, this is how they were going to win. If they were going to win today, they were going to attack the holes. Micah ended up with 4 total tackles, 3 solo. He did have 1 sack, but the pressures were just, he was, people say sacks are overrated. Sometimes they are, because you need pressures to affect the game. And he was there. He was getting Deshaun Watson off his mark. And let's talk about Deshaun a little bit. He got his absolute ass kicked. There were times in this game, especially in the second half, where it looked like Deshaun wanted to quit. He was legitimately questioning whether he was going to get up and continue in this game. He was taking a pounding. Phillips, Overshown, Kendricks, Uso Digizwa, every single person on this defense was trying to hit him. And when they had a chance, they were punishing him. Deshaun Watson is going to need an ice bath and a very, very, very long massage after this game to feel a little bit better heading into their week 2 game against Jacksonville, I believe. But another player I was excited to see, 2 of them, linebackers, right? Eric Kendricks and Demarion Overshown. Between the 2 of them, they had 20 tackles. Overshown had 11. Kendricks had 9. Overshown had 5 solo. Kendricks had 6 solo. They each had a sack. Kendricks had 2 sacks. Overshown had 1. And Kendricks also added an interception, 1 of 2 on the day. Trayvon Diggs with the second. That duo right there immediately upgrades what we had last year, literally playing safeties at linebacker. Seeing 13 flying around the ball for Overshown. I do wish they would let him wear 0. Enough with it's Rowdy's number, okay? Let Agent 0 get on the field and let him wear 0, because him flying around in 0 would look unbelievable. But I was extremely impressed with Overshown, who, if you are unaware, rookie last year, taken out of Texas, looked unbelievable in the preseason, then blew up his knee, didn't get to play at all last year. He's back. He's healthy. He's a weapon. Eric Kendricks is already a no doubt leader on this defense. He knows what Mike Zimmer wants. He was drafted by Mike Zimmer, played with him in Minnesota. He is everything we hoped he would be, even as an older player. He's not the player he once was. He may have lost a step, but you see how instinctual he is. You see how smart he is. You see still how tough he is. He will give it everything he has on every play. Both of those linebackers, it is pivotal that they both stay healthy this season if this team wants to get where they want to get and this defense wants to be the defense they want to be. DeMarcus Lawrence looked good in this game. Trayvon Diggs looked great. 5 tackles, interception, 2 passes deflected. He looked like Trayvon Diggs out there. We always worry about ACLs, especially on this Dallas Cowboys team. They've had a lot of issues dating back to Michael Gallup with players not returning from ACL injuries. It looks like Trayvon Diggs is going to be okay. Malik Hooker was laying the wood. Keelan Carson, there was a couple times, he got beat, but there were other times where he looked really good out there. 21 was flashing. I was like, is that Stephon Gilmore in his prime? Nope, that's Carson. That's the rookie. Jordan Lewis looked good. And I got to say, they were thumping. They were laying the lumber when they could. Everybody. Malik Hooker lit up Njoku. Like I said earlier, they were just punishing Deshaun Watson. They were not letting the running game get going at all. Marshawn Nealon had 3 tackles in this game. 6 total sacks. I mean, just outstanding. Overshown 1. Kendricks 1. DeMarcus Lawrence 2. Micah 1. Like, that's what we need. Get Marshawn Nealon going a little bit more in the pass rush. And this is going to be a defense to be reckoned with if healthy. I loved everything that I saw in this game. Again, it was not the game that I expected. Once they let the Browns score, make it to, they got 10, got a little nervous, but not at all, right? This game, except for the first drive of the game, was never in doubt. Dallas played the game they wanted to play. It looked like they took out all their frustration from the Packer game the media, the fans taking it out on them all off season, and they went out and they absolutely punished the Browns. It was also nice to see Amari Cooper not get too involved in this game, right? He had an early catch. They had the Coop. But for him to only have 2 for 16, he did not have the touchdown. That was Jerry Jeudy. So very happy to see Amari Cooper not go for 9 and 107 and a touchdown against his former team. I actually tweeted from KMS22 in the middle of the game, the old Earl Thomas picture when he went to the Cowboys locker room. Come get me. That was Amari Cooper at halftime going to the Cowboys locker room trying to get back. But all in all is happy times here in Dallas after a tumultuous offseason. CeeDee Lamb locked up. Dak Prescott locked up. Now they can focus all their attention on the next contract extension. That will have to be Micah Parsons. But we take this 1 week at a time here on Birds vs. Boys. Cowboys win 33-17. All is well in the world. We move on to playing the Saints. We are 2-0 as a podcast. If it is your first time watching one of these recaps, thank you. If you're watching here on a YouTube channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We are oh so close to 1,000. I give all the Cowboys updates. My co-host, Aiden Powers, covers the Philadelphia Eagles. We have full shows all season long where we cover Cowboys, Eagles, and the NFL around the clock. Make sure you follow us everywhere on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Birds vs. Boys Pod. If you listen to podcasts, anywhere you listen, we are there, Birds vs. Boys Pod. And right here, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, Birds vs. Boys Pod as well. We will be giving you reaction to every game, previews of every game, and banter all season long, including great guests. Cowboys win 33-17, dominant on both sides of the ball. All is well. We are on to week 2. Tom Brady, you better lock it up.